Hi everyone, Luke from the Broken Meeple, and we're continuing the shelf-by-shelf review of my collection. This is the other room, and this is this cubby hold. You'll notice there's less games on this one than the others, so hopefully this will be a bit of a shorter video, not to mention my throat will last longer. So there's only 2 games on here, mainly because one takes up so much room. But, I don't own a lot from Bombix and Cool Mini or Not. I mean, I like Bombix as a publisher, but there's only one game of theirs I have, and Cool Mini or Not a big fan of their Kickstarter practices, and to be fair, once you've played one big miniature game that's about area combat, you've kind of played them all. So I picked my favourite. So first of all, Abyss. Do I need to say much more about this game? You've heard me drone on about this one so much. The big funky fish cover. But this is one of the most beautiful games I have ever played. This one has you're trying to get the attention of all these different lords for victory points and special powers. To do that, you need these little cards with all these different fish creatures on them, like squid and clamfish and crabs, and they're allied with specific factions. But then it's kind of like the Gungan universe from Star Wars mixed with the Senate from Star Wars in a sense, kind of things like that. But you're recruiting these little allied cards, you're using them to pay for the big lords, they give you special powers, they unlock locations with scoring opportunities. It's a fairly simple game, but I've thrown in both expansions to this, and by doing so, it turns the game from a 9 to a 12 by putting the expansions in. The Kraken gives you corrupted currency with wild allies, which are really cool. The loot deck is rubbish, actually. The loot deck part of that expansion is garbage. Don't use it. Nobody likes it. Leave it out. It's such a small inclusion though, so it doesn't matter. But the Leviathan expansion is definitely the first one you should get. It replaces this little track here, where you just level it up as you come across this Leviathan creature. A little bit boring. It's the one negative of the base game I have. The Leviathan track replaces it. Now you have all these different Leviathan creatures that come by, and if you encounter one during one of the actions in the game, you can fight it. So you can commit allies to fight the creature. You take off its wounds, you get either point bonuses or special bonuses, like more pearls, more free actions, that kind of thing. You can pick and choose. But if you kill the creature, you slay it, and then the more creatures you've slain, if you've slain the most, you get to be the Scourge of the Sea, and you get bonus points at the end. Consequently, with the Kraken expansion, if you have too much of that corrupted currency, you get the Kraken miniature, and you lose points for being allied with a faction nobody likes. But the thing about this, it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful. This is Xavier Colette's artwork. They've done, I think he's done Dixit artwork as well, and various other ones. But it's so beautiful. Just look at my top 100. Look at my top 10 of my last top 100 for the most recent video I've done with this. I can't recall if I've put Abyss in any top 10s recently, but honestly, I love this game. It's so good. So Rising Sun, I kickstarted this one. It cost me an arm and a leg. In fact, this new leg is kind of rolling it in. But, this one is my pick of all those big, massive miniature games with exploding dice and all that lot. So, Blood Rage is okay. I'm not as big of a fan of Blood Rage. It's alright, I'll play it, but I just found the low-key strategy to be too powerful, and I don't know, it didn't feel good enough for my liking. Now, I'm not exactly getting all gung-ho about this Ankh game, because, God, another giant miniatures game about combat? Seriously, how many of them do we need? And I don't have that kind of money right now, especially as we're now getting the 80% hours, 80% pay thing in the UK at the moment and stuff like that, which I'm now on. So, I've got the next 2 weeks off work, but I am effectively on 80%, so I've got to make certain I can take that hit. But here we go, Rising Sun. That Daimyo box there basically has expansion content in it. Have I got an insert for this? I don't know if I have. Yes, I have. Oh god, yeah, I have. I've got a massive insert there. I don't want to get it in there, but I've got a folded space insert. I recommend it. It's cheaper than the normal inserts, and it will do the job nicely. But Rising Sun is, this is my pick for those ones, because the theme is fantastic. The whole Japanese samurai with giant monsters and gods, really cool. It looks beautiful on the board. You have got miniatures everywhere. You've got these giant monsters, the huge board with the Japanese artwork, which looks fantastic. The cards you get, which give you special abilities during the game and scoring opportunities. And it's a cool blend of tactical gameplay with a tiny little bit of diplomacy thrown in, and not too much, that was overblown in the marketing. some bluffing with the combat, and some cool, simple combat game. You know, it's the mechanics of it are generally quite simple. It's for what it is, this massive ton of miniatures and that. The mechanics are not that complicated. It's mostly area control with a bit of combat and some cool special abilities and monsters. But trying to figure out the best time to do things and that, it does require some thought. You've got all the different clans. I've got plastic minis. I've got the upgraded components. Oh, and the extra clans and the Elder Gods with that one. This is definitely my pick. I mean, this one trumps Blood Rage for me easily. I can understand if you don't like this one and you prefer Blood Rage. I'm not going to defend it to the hilt, but this is definitely my pick of those ones. And because it's so big, it takes up most of a Kallax shelf by itself. So, I mean, the Damio box, for example, this huge one, this also has an insert in it. I've even saved the instructions, but the folded space insert it helps to make everything just a little bit more organized, and this like cases underneath and that this is probably the most organized out of all of them. The other one's got more stuff in it, but it works. It's an easy insert to make, and it just does the job nicely of keeping everything neat, because let's face it, when you're trying to set this thing up, it is a bit of a beast if you don't have the setup. So in you go. So, well, that was a nice quick one. Only 2 games on that shelf. If only they were all this easy. Oh well, we'll try and shift the curtain a bit so I can talk about this one in the next video. Until then, it's only a game. Stay safe, stay indoors, and just take care of yourselves.